The Lakers. Totally opposite situation here. They have 40-year-old LeBron, Anthony Davis, and an overpaid Austin Reeves. They let go of Darvin Ham this year, who is now the assistant head coach for the Milwaukee Bucks now,
Shout out.
reported today. Shout out to him. And their rebuttal there was trying to go after the Uconn head coach, the guy who had just won 2 straight national titles. They say, hey, what's your salary now? We'll double it. We'll pay you $12 million a year, $70 million over 40 years, becoming one of the highest paid head coaches in the NBA. And Dan Hurley goes, thanks, but no thanks. I think I'll go back to UConn and go for a three-peat. So now the Lakers are scrambling. Who are they going to go for? JJ Redick? Potentially. Who else is available for them? Are the Lakers
Stan Van
completely
Gundy.
screwed? Stan Van Gundy.
Yeah, I mean, with the Lakers, the problem with this is their coaching situation has not been stable, and we'll be able to pull that up later. But the Lakers wanted to bring in Dan Hurley because they saw how Brad Stevens kind of had that effect with the Celtics and being able to rebuild a franchise there. The problem is you still have LeBron James, who may be there for another year or two. You still have Anthony Davis there, so you would have to make up your mind, okay, is this going to be a situation like the Boston Celtics had where we trade away Anthony Davis for a haul of draft picks, maybe to a team like the Utah Jazz, who has just a ton of picks to give away to acquire a player, or maybe he's that final piece for the Oklahoma City Thunder because they have a ton of draft picks still under Sam Presti, but they wanted to go the route of, okay, let's get a guy to rebuild, but it's just not quite there yet, where they're still in a stage where they don't know if they're trying to compete for a title or if they're going to be rebuilding, and the next few years are probably going to be we're in the play-in tournament, and we maybe, if we're lucky, get past the first round, but probably not with how much deeper the West is getting with all of these young teams here. And then also, if you want to keep AD and LeBron, who the hell are you going to trade? No one's going to want Austin Reeves' contract. And then after that, I know you guys thought you were going to get Damian Lillard for THT. I know you thought you were going to get Trae Young and Bradley Beal for a player as bad as THT, who's basically out of the league this point, but like you don't have anyone to trade right now for another star. So it's kind of a nightmare situation where you're just stuck in that awkward in between. And why would you want to step in when you're in that middle point where Lakers fans are going to jump on you and be like, fire that coach. He's not good enough, when context is probably going to be lacking, even though, you know, Lakers fans can't put that together.
Yeah, and also let's remember that the Lakers, ever since Phil Jackson walked out that door, they have not been a good, well-run franchise. This is the same team. I have a whole list of their head coaches since then. You know, the Lakers, they're about to have their 9th head coach since 2011.
9th.
Their 9th head coach. I'll go through it. We had
How many years has it been since 2011? 13?
It's been 13 years. So they get a head coach every 2 years at this point. So for Dan Hurley, who has a nice cushy job at UConn, is from the Northeast, and is on pace to have a 3rd straight title with UConn, why the hell would he go to a team like the Lakers, where if they don't succeed next year, he could be out of a job potentially? So it's out of their mind. So 2011, they had Phil Jackson. He stepped down. He retired. And then in came Mike Brown. He spent 2 seasons there, 71 total games. He got fired. They put in Bernie Bickerstaff.
Bernie Bickerstaff.
As an interim head coach. And then following that up, they had Mike D'Antoni, who went 67 and 87 with them.
Was that with Nash and Howard?
Yep.
Okay.
And then they fire him because he was the problem. And they hire Byron Scott. Byron Scott was 38 and 126 with them as head coach. And then they fire him.
Did they fire him sooner than Mike D'Antoni? Or did they keep him longer than Mike D'Antoni?
He coached 10 more games than Mike D'Antoni.
That's ridiculous.
Lakers being Lakers.
He won 67 games.
Yeah. And then Luke Walton steps into the frame. And keep in mind, this head coach has spent the most time with the Lakers since 2011.
Luke Walton has spent the most times with the Lakers?
He has coached the most games for the Lakers since 2011. 246. He was 98 and 148 with a winning percentage below 400. He was the guy. And you know what they did? Absolutely fucking nothing. In case you were wondering. And you're going to say, oh, well, Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram and all the guys before LeBron.
Kuzma,
cool.
Josh Hart, Randall.
Very cool.
Pretty good team, actually, if they had a good coach.
Yeah. Maybe if they had
Brad Stevens.
Brad Stevens, Darvin Ham, or the next coach they hired, Frank Vogel, who has been successful pretty much everywhere he went. He went to Indiana. Obviously, he did well in Indy, and he was good with LA. He won a title with LA. He was 127 in 98. And then a year following the bubble, he gets fired, even though he has the best winning percentage of every Lakers head coach before we get to Phil Jackson. And then now we have Darvin Ham, who exceeded expectations with the Lakers, was 90 and 74. Pretty good for them. And now they're looking at JJ Redick and a number of other head coaching options to fill the shoes of Darvin Ham, who I don't think was the problem.
Yeah,